Hey guys, welcome back to Math with Miss L. Right here today, we are talking about patterns and equations. So before we hop in, I want to wish you guys a very great, and I hope you had a very great and well Thanksgiving. If you didn't, well, there's always the holiday time coming up in a couple weeks. So stay tuned for the very end because I have a special announcement. If you want to know more about patterns and equations, stay tuned. Okay, guys, so the first thing we're going to talk about today is understanding equality. So equality, hopefully we're thinking of that root word, or that small word, equal. So equal is what we're going for equality. That means one side of the equation has to equal the other side of the equation. Stay tuned and look below because we're about to go over that. So like we talked about in class, if I had 2 times 5 plus 7, and on the other side of my equation, let's say I had 7 times 2 plus 4. So we want to make sure that this is our left side. We want to see what the value is, and we want to compare it to the right side. So we could either be greater than, less than, or equal to. Okay? So 2 times 5, we always go from left to right. Just like when we read, we go from left to right. So 2 times 5 is 10, and I'm going to bring everything else down, plus 7, right? That's where I got my plus 7. That gave me 17. Now over here, 7 times 2 is 14, and then I'm bringing down my plus 4. I am getting 18. So now we can compare 17 to 18. Which one is greater? Well, 18 is greater. Remember our little alligator mouth wants to eat the greater number, the bigger fish. So if this is the greater than symbol for this value, we can read it as 18 is greater than 17, or you could say 17 is less than 18. So you can read it this way, going from 17 is less than to 18, or 18 is greater than 17. So the thing about equations is you can go from one side to the other if you're talking about equality. So that is one example. Another example I showed you guys in class had to do with standard form. So if I had 200 plus 40 plus 5, and let's say I had 200 times 40 times 5. So some of you might automatically say, oh, Miss LaFuente, these are equal. Well, I will say, huh? No way. It's because this has to do with addition. So that would be 245. If you don't believe me, you could always do 200 plus 40 plus 5 ones. And yes, you get 245. Or if you can tell, this is multiplication. So automatically you should be thinking, oh, our numbers get larger. Our numbers get larger. So automatically 2 times 4 is 8, and you have 1, 2, 3 zeros. That's 800 times 5. You can only get bigger or larger. So that's already greater. So you should already know that this value, you don't have to solve for it, is greater than this value right here. So that is what I'm talking about when I talk about equality, is knowing how to read those examples. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about are equations. Equations. So if I tell you that a variable, we have the definition up there. It's a letter that stands for a value. So if I said that x equals 5, that means that x is a letter and it stands for the number 5. So if my equation said x plus 5 equals 10, well, this x right here would be 5. And I'd plug it in. I'd add my regular 5. And once again, the left side, if it says equal, has to equal the right side. So 10 equals 10 is correct. So it makes it true. We're going to go over equations involving, here we go, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So stay tuned. Here we go. The first example that we have is 24 equals n minus 2. So we're trying to figure out, what does this n stand for? Well, We don't know yet. So what we're going to do is we're trying to figure out what number, if I subtract 2, would give me 24. Well, I know that the opposite or the inverse of subtraction is addition. So it says to subtract 2. Instead of subtracting 2, I'm actually going to add 2. So 4 plus 2 is 6. Bring your 2 tens down. So I'm going to say 26 equals n. Or you can think about it in your head as 24 equals 26 minus 2. And check and see if that's true. 24, that's the number we're trying to get to. 26, if I take 2 away, I should definitely get 24. And if it says it's equal, it should equal that. So that is one way. You could do the opposite of the operation, plug in the number for what you had in your equation. So when I say plug in the number, I mean plug in the variable, right? And then check both sides and see if they are equal. So that's how you do an addition or subtraction one. Now, the next one is a little bit different. If I said 50 equals 65 minus p, well, you're trying to figure out what number can you take away from 65 that'll give you 50. So automatically, somebody might say, well, if I do 65 take away 50, I get 15. We'll try it. See if 15 will get you something. So if you say 15, plug it into p and do 65 take away 15. Let's change that to a vertical way. 65 take away 15. Well, looky there. After you plugged it in, after you plugged that number back in, you did get 50. So what does that mean? That means that 50 on this side, we just did 65 take away 15. It did give you 50. So on this side, it did give you 50. So for this example, 65 take away something. You actually only had to do subtraction. You did not have to do the opposite here. So you just have to be careful. So my biggest advice is be careful and check. And how do you check? You check by actually plugging in your value for the variable there. Okay, so the next question is, this is with multiplication and division. So if you have 8 times a equals 64. Well, a is your missing number. So you can think about it as 8 times what number gives you 64. This entire time we've been using question marks. Question marks are the same thing as variables. They stand for a number. So 8 times what? Well, hopefully you're doing your tic-tac-toes, or hopefully you know your math facts by now. But yes, you're trying to figure out how many times does 8 go into 64. So we're really thinking of 64 divided by 8 gives us a number. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, and we're already there. So let's see how many groups of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that is going to get plugged in. So 8 times, we said 8 is going to get plugged in. There's where our 8 comes from, equals 64. And it's true. This side, let me erase some of this so I can get some room. This side does equal 64, as we just saw. And it does equal this side, which is 64. So you are good to go. Next, if you're dealing with division, y divided by 5 equals 7. So we should know that that's our missing number, but we should also know that that's our dividend. Remember, I hope people at home, you know our dividend is our total. It has to be greater. So a way to think about division right here is by doing multiplication. So I would think about it as 7 times 5 equals what? Or, because we can switch these around because of the C property, thank you, C property, you could do 5 times 7 gives you, hopefully we're thinking 35 at home, and 35 would be our Y. So don't stop there. You need to plug it in. So 35 divided by 5. Well, see if it equals 7. If you are doing any type of long division for this problem, you shouldn't have to. You should be able to either do it and say, oh yeah, it's 7, and you get no remainder, or you could do your tic-tac-toes. And your tic-tac-toes would literally be counting by 5s until you get to 35. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is correct. And this side of your equation, this would be, so we had y divided by 5 equals 7. This side does equal 7, as we just checked. And this is just the number 7. So 7, does it equal 7? It sure does. So we are good to go. All right, guys. So that is all I have for understanding equations and patterns. If it's not making sense to you, click that rewind button and try it again. This will be really simple if you just think about what number fits in to make the equation true. Remember, the left side has to equal the right, or whichever way you see it, but they have to be equal if that equal sign is there. But drum roll, please. Coming up for this month of December, I have a giveaway, and it's not just going to be for one day. It's going to be for 12 days, or this way, 12 days. 12 days of giveaways. That means every single day, starting next Monday, and next Monday is the 9th of December, we're going and doing 12 days of fun giveaways. That could be anything like a whole sheet or stack of paper. It could be a cool mechanical pencil. It could be anything. I think our big giveaway prize is actually going to be, it's going to be my big Crayola crayon. This is going to be the lucky winner on day number 12. They get this huge Crayola pencil. But anyways, up until then, we'll be getting smaller gifts, and then we'll be getting large gifts. So stay tuned. In order to win, you have to be subscribed. You have to like our videos and make a positive comment below. For example, like, I enjoy Miss LaFuente's haircut because I just got a haircut. Or it could be, oh, so-and-so is so funny, or I appreciate this, or it's a beautiful day outside. Something positive. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and I will make sure to try and answer them. One more thing, just one more. We can't say bye already. Our Imagine Math giveaway. So I'm picking 2 names. Let's make it 3. Why not? Okay. 3 names. Here we go. Who get to come into my treasure chest. Ruth, you are one of them. Ruth, you are one of them. Yay. Faith, you are the other. And Camille, you're the other. So if your name was called, feel free to come in tomorrow or this week and get your lovely prize. All right, guys, until next time. Bye, guys.